has sent shockwaves across the United States. An electrical fire disaster so devastating, it has gripped the nation's attention with a mix of horror and fascination. What began as a routine day swiftly erupted into a nightmarish sequence of events that no one could have predicted. This is the moment when power, control, and safety all collided in a massive, uncontrollable blaze. It was early morning when the first sparks ignited. Deep within a sprawling electrical substation, a nerve center for the energy grid, an unprecedented short circuit exploded into life, setting cables ablaze and igniting equipment in a catastrophic fire. The blaze quickly escalated, feeding on miles of high-voltage wiring, surging transformers, and complex machinery designed to channel the lifeblood of modern America: electricity. Within minutes, the initial fire spiraled beyond containment. Sirens blared, emergency crews were dispatched, and cities braced themselves as power flickered and then vanished in waves. For millions, the lights went out, plunging homes, hospitals, businesses, and vital infrastructure into darkness. The silence that followed was deafening, a void where hums of energy used to thrive. This wasn't a simple power outage. It was a full-scale crisis, unfolding in real time, live on news feeds and social media. Dramatic videos captured the fury of the flames clawing at steel structures, the acrid smoke billowing into skies, and panicked residents fleeing from encroaching danger. The scene was cinematic, chaotic, terrifying, and utterly compelling. Officials scrambled to understand what had gone wrong. Early assessments suggested an electrical fault, but the scale of the disaster raised deeper questions. Was this a failure of aging infrastructure? Human error? Or was there something more sinister behind the spark that ignited this inferno? For those on the ground, there was no time for answers, only survival. Emergency responders plunged headfirst into the blaze, battling not only the fire itself, but cascading failures of communication and energy distribution. Firefighters described it as the most dangerous situation they had faced. Live electrical currents coursing unpredictably, metal structures glowing red hot, and explosions rocking the substation like a war zone. The cascading effects rippled across multiple states. Hospitals switched to emergency generators, traffic lights went dark, and entire neighborhoods found themselves isolated in darkness. Emergency hotlines flooded as citizens demanded answers and assistance. The nation's nerves were frayed, but amidst the chaos emerged stories of courage and resilience. Communities banded together, neighbors checked on each other, and first responders worked tirelessly to contain the blaze and restore order. The human spirit, as always, shone brightest in the darkest hours. In this series, we peel back the layers of this unprecedented disaster. We'll take you inside the firestorm, share human stories from the front line, unravel the technical mysteries behind the disaster, explore the aftermath, and look ahead at how this event will shape America's power future. So hold tight. This is more than breaking news. This is a saga of fire, fear, failure, and fight back. A gripping tale that will keep you on the edge of your seat. As the flames raged, it was not just steel and wires that burned. Lives were changed forever. Behind every flickering screen, every emergency broadcast, lies a deeply human story of fear, sacrifice, and raw emotion. This section takes you beyond headlines and statistics, into the heart of the firestorm, where ordinary people faced extraordinary peril. At the break of dawn, in neighborhoods shadowed by smoke and sirens, families scrambled to escape the looming inferno. Sarah Johnson, a mother of two in a quiet suburban street, recalls the moment when the lights went out and the smell of smoke filled the air. "We didn't know where the fire was exactly, but we could see the orange glow from our windows," she says, her voice still trembling. "I grabbed my kids and just ran." Meanwhile, firefighters raced against time and deadly odds. Captain Miguel Ramirez, leading one of the first units to arrive on the scene, describes a chaotic battlefield. The fire was everywhere. It was feeding on live wires, making it unpredictable and extremely dangerous, he recounts. "We couldn't just hose it down like a normal fire. Every step forward was a battle with electricity and heat. In hospitals across the region, power outages forced medical teams into emergency mode. Life support machines, ventilators, and critical monitors suddenly lost their primary power source, switching to backup generators that were stretched to their limits. Nurses and doctors worked frantically to stabilize patients, some moving them by hand through darkened corridors. The fire also exposed the vulnerability of the elderly and disabled. At a local nursing home, backup power faltered, causing distress and panic. Caregivers reported desperate calls for help, racing against time to keep residents safe and calm. "We did everything we could," said one nurse, "but the fear in their eyes is something I'll never forget." Communities not directly hit by flames felt the ripple effects. Businesses shuttered as computers and cash registers died. Traffic snarled at intersections where signals failed. Schools canceled classes amid uncertainty. For some, the blackout was a minor inconvenience. For others, a life-threatening emergency. Yet amid the darkness, stories of heroism and solidarity shone like beacons. Neighbors opened doors to those stranded without power or heat. Volunteers set up charging stations and food distribution points. Social media buzzed with updates, warnings, and offers of help. A virtual lifeline connecting isolated communities. The response was not without heartbreak. Several casualties were reported, lives lost in the confusion and danger of evacuation, accidents caused by sudden blackouts, and even injuries sustained while battling the fire. Each loss rippled through families and communities, fueling the determination of responders to bring the disaster under control. But even as the fire continued to burn, so too did the indomitable human spirit. Rescue teams worked around the clock, often risking their own safety. Citizens organized relief efforts with impressive speed and compassion. The tragedy became a testament to resilience, a collective refusal to be defeated by calamity. In this segment, we bring you exclusive interviews and first-hand accounts from those who lived through the chaos. Their fears, their hopes, and their unwavering will to survive. Their stories remind us that behind every news report is a person, a family, a community, all bound together by a shared ordeal. Stay with us, because as the firestorm rages on, the human saga is far from over. The next chapter will reveal what went wrong beneath the surface, as experts dissect the technical failures that led to this disaster. What secrets lie behind the spark that ignited this national crisis? Behind the raging flames and the chaos on the streets, a complex and chilling technical story unfolds. One that exposes vulnerabilities in the very infrastructure that powers a nation. What caused this catastrophic electrical fire? Was it a freak accident, negligence, or systemic failure? According to preliminary investigations, the disaster began with a massive short circuit at a critical electrical substation, a hub responsible for distributing electricity to millions. This substation, decades old and operating at maximum capacity, was burdened by increasing demand and aging equipment. When a single component failed, it triggered a chain reaction no one could stop. Electrical engineers explain that a short circuit causes an uncontrolled surge of electrical current. Normally, protective systems isolate faults quickly, but in this case, the system was overwhelmed. Insulation on cables had degraded over time, maintenance was sporadic, and outdated safety protocols meant the fire quickly spread across multiple transformers. Inside the substation, fire spread along energized cables, feeding off metal structures heated beyond normal thresholds. Explosions rocked the facility as circuit breakers failed and safety switches malfunctioned. The inferno became a beast fed by electricity itself, making firefighting an almost impossible task. Experts interviewed reveal that warning signs were present in the weeks leading up to the disaster. Alarms were triggered but reportedly dismissed as false or minor glitches. Budget cuts and resource constraints had led to deferred maintenance, increasing the risk of catastrophic failure. Some whistleblowers had raised concerns, but bureaucracy delayed corrective actions. The situation reveals a larger systemic problem. America's electrical grid, much of which was built in the mid-20th century, struggles under the strain of modern demands. Infrastructure updates lag decades behind technological advances and population growth. Experts warn that this incident is a warning shot, a disaster waiting to happen elsewhere unless urgent reforms are implemented. But the questions remain. Could the fire have been prevented with better oversight? Was there a failure of communication between agencies? Were protocols ignored in the race to meet energy demands? Investigations are ongoing, but the initial findings paint a stark picture of vulnerability, risk, and human error. In the next section, we will explore how the nation responded to this crisis, the emergency operations, government interventions, and community mobilizations that rose from the ashes. The story is far from over, and the fight to restore power and normalcy has only just begun. With the fire finally contained, a new battle emerged. The race to recover, rebuild, and restore a nation plunged into darkness. The aftermath of the electrical disaster left millions without power, exposed systemic weaknesses, and ignited a nationwide call for urgent action. Emergency shelters sprung up overnight, accommodating families displaced by fire damage or lacking basic utilities. Relief organizations mobilized rapidly, distributing food, water, and medical aid. The government declared states of emergency in affected regions, unleashing federal resources and personnel. Utility companies faced an unprecedented challenge. Repair crews worked tirelessly, navigating damaged equipment, hazardous conditions, and widespread infrastructure failures. Restoring power was a slow, painstaking process, complicated by ongoing safety concerns and the need to avoid further incidents. Meanwhile, the human toll continued to mount. Hospitals struggled to care for patients amid power fluctuations. Schools and businesses faced extended closures, and economic losses soared. The blackout disrupted communication networks, complicating coordination and emergency response. Politicians and officials faced intense scrutiny. Hearings were convened, accountability questioned, and promises made to prevent future disasters. The incident sparked debates over infrastructure funding, regulatory oversight, and the role of private companies managing critical utilities. Yet, amid the crisis, stories of hope and resilience emerged. Communities rallied together, neighbors supporting neighbors, volunteers stepping up to fill gaps. Social media became a tool for coordination, sharing real-time updates and connecting those in need. Experts warn the road to recovery will be long and complex. Rebuilding physical infrastructure is only part of the solution. Restoring public trust and implementing systemic reforms are equally crucial. Lessons learned from this disaster could shape energy policy for decades. Stay tuned for our final segment where we look ahead, exploring the bold innovations and strategic plans aimed at powering America's future, safer, smarter, and more resilient than ever before. As the smoke clears and communities begin to heal, the nation faces a pivotal moment. The devastating electrical fire has shaken America to its core, exposing vulnerabilities, igniting urgent debates, and inspiring bold visions for the future. This final chapter dives deep into the lessons learned from the disaster and the transformative journey ahead. The first and most critical lesson is clear. America's power infrastructure can no longer be taken for granted. Decades of deferred maintenance, aging equipment, and underinvestment created a ticking time bomb, and it exploded with catastrophic consequences. Policymakers, industry leaders, and communities now recognize that investing in modernization is not optional. It's a matter of national security, economic stability, and public safety. Innovations in technology offer hope. The future of energy lies in smarter, more resilient grids equipped with real-time monitoring, predictive maintenance, and automatic fault isolation. By integrating artificial intelligence and Internet of Things, IoT devices, utilities can detect problems before they escalate, minimizing risks and improving response times. Renewable energy sources also play a pivotal role. Solar panels, wind farms, and battery storage systems reduce reliance on centralized power plants and vulnerable substations. Distributed energy resources create a more flexible, adaptive grid that can withstand extreme weather and unexpected failures. Beyond technology, a cultural shift is underway. Transparency, accountability, and community engagement are becoming essential. Utilities face growing pressure to maintain rigorous safety standards, communicate openly, and collaborate with local governments and citizens. Public awareness campaigns educate consumers about energy conservation, emergency preparedness, and reporting anomalies. Legislators are responding with new regulations and funding initiatives. Bipartisan support is growing for comprehensive infrastructure bills aimed at revitalizing the power grid, expanding cybersecurity measures, and accelerating clean energy adoption. The disaster has galvanized political will to act decisively. However, challenges remain. Upgrading infrastructure is costly and complex, requiring coordination across multiple agencies, industries, and jurisdictions. Balancing affordability, environmental concerns, and rapid deployment demands careful planning and sustained commitment. At the community level, resilience means more than physical rebuilding. It means fostering networks of support, emergency readiness, and adaptability. Grassroots organizations and local leaders are pioneering programs to equip citizens with knowledge, tools, and resources to face future crises. This event will be remembered not just for the destruction it wrought, but for the awakening it triggered. A powerful reminder that the systems we depend on are only as strong as our willingness to nurture and protect them. As America powers forward, it carries the scars of this disaster as lessons etched in memory and steel. The road ahead is charged with opportunity to build a safer, smarter, and more sustainable energy future for generations to come. Thank you for joining us on this journey through one of the most dramatic events in recent history. If you found this story compelling, please like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth coverage of breaking news and transformative stories. Stay safe, stay informed, and remember, the power to change the future is in all our hands. Thank you for watching. Let's keep the conversation going. Hello, everyone. We're incredibly grateful that you stayed with us until the very end of this video. Your time and attention mean everything to us here at Best of Moment. Thank you for choosing to share a part of your day with us. If this video resonated with you or brought you any inspiration, please consider subscribing to our channel, Best of Moment. Hit the subscribe button and tap the notification bell so you never miss out on the meaningful, emotional, and thought-provoking stories we're excited to share. We're committed to bringing you moments that move the heart and spark reflection, and we'd love for you to be part of this journey. Now we want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on today's topic? Have you had a similar experience or perhaps a different perspective? Drop your comments below. Your voice matters deeply to us. This channel isn't just about videos. It's about creating a vibrant community where we can all connect, learn, and grow together. Feel free to jump into the conversation, ask questions, share your insights, or even engage in friendly debates. We read every single comment and truly look forward to connecting with each of you. Thank you once again for your support and for being here with us. Stay tuned for more unforgettable moments right here on Best of Moment. Take care and see you in the next video.